Hey guys, it seems like a lot of glare today, but you don't need to see my mug. So just a quick update. The birth pains are getting faster and faster, and they can dissipate with the word. Now, God's judgments are justice. God doesn't want to destroy his people. So when God called Satan to test Job, Satan didn't even want to do it. He says, you'll intervene, you'll test my friend Job. Then he was tested worse until he realized he was being codependent with his children. Kind of like sewing pillows to your butt, so you don't get a butt whooping. Excuse me. So the weather, they've been modifying the weather for, 60, 70 years. Cloud seeding and everything else, smoking out the skies, which they did 2 days ago here in Greenville. And God blew it away and made the sky blue again instead of powder blue with all that powder stuff, whatever that stuff is they're spraying. So then they sent up a bunch more planes and smoked it out again, trying to change the weather. The weather men, the prophets of Baal, which are all the media, or should I say probably 97% right now, is lying. So they're calling for tornadoes, tornadic activity. So we can unwind a tornado by speaking the word into it. If you have the word within you, if you cemented your relationship, which Mike and I are going to get on here probably next, depending on what the time is, day, hopefully next 48 hours, to share with you a lot of scriptural meat of the old text, the old dusty text, because I told you time repeats. So in Revelation, I'm trying to remember where it is, but I can hopefully cue it up when I post this. So the earth helps. The whole book is a revelation of Jesus Christ. The earth helps man and swallows up the lies. The earth helps because the earth will not receive the lies anymore. It's so saturated with lies, the earth would die itself. The earth itself would die if it receives any more lies, any more crime, any more pollution, any more evil. It can't take it anymore. Now, the earth is a living thing, living, elements, living, the soil, everything is alive. Everything's alive. So it responds to God and God's voice, because God spoke from the third, spoke into the second, birthed it on the first. He birthed the first heaven with the Word. The Word is God Himself, Jesus, the nucleus, the heart of God is Jesus. So therefore, the realignment, the regenesis, the restart, the renew of everything, because Adam and Eve failed to live one spiritual day. They couldn't live a spiritual day because they were corrupted. So we must live a spiritual day, 1,000-year day. The day of the Lord. This is the day the Lord has made. One spiritual day. 1,000-year day. Humanity calls it 1,000 years. But God says 1,000 years on earth is but a day in heaven. A day in heaven. One day. So with that said, yeah, I'm just waking up, still groggy. Getting the cobwebs off, yeah. So I must confess, tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. So when I was 7 years old, I went outside and I looked up at the sky and I said, "Make it rain, Lord." A minute later, it started raining. I thought, wow, oh my God. So I ducked under the porch. About 3, 4 minutes later, 5 minutes later, I don't know how much time. I'm just a 7-year-old kid. I holler out, "Stop." The rain stops within just a few seconds. And I just looked out, thought, oh my God. I ran in the house and went up in my room and just laid on the bed for a while. Thought, oh my God. Really, God? Oh my God. And I told you I didn't totally surrender to the Lord till like 2000. And you can see I'm not the youngest guy on the planet. So then after I got older, it became normal because I did a lot of outside work, house painting or whatever. And I'd say, "Lord, can you not allow it to rain till 3 o'clock?" I mean, it's a humbling thing. Can you? Will you? And a lot of times he'd say yes. And I'd just get my last paintbrush cleaned and it started raining. At that time, I lived in Florida full time. Many times we worshiped on the beach 16, 17 years ago, and it would rain and storm all around us, but not on us, as we were just singing praises to the Lord. But what I'm getting to is I forgot about the impact of the 7-year-old till now, that it was normal. It seemed normal after a while that, "Lord, can you not make it rain until 3? And sometimes he'd say, "No." So I'd pack up my paintbrushes right then and there. And in Florida, rainy season in summer, I could paint up to the soffit because it was nice and warm from the heat from the attic, and the rain wouldn't hit it. So I would cut it all in at the top, cut in, of course, paint, cut it in, brush it in at the top, and then, "Lord, can you not make it rain?" Nope. It's okay. All right, God, you're daddy, okay? You're the father, not me. So yeah, Lord just wanted me to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. So the storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes can stop. At a word. But do his children need a spanking? Yes. Do they have to have a spanking? No. But if you look back at Job, he was codependent with his children. He knew they were sinning. Throw a few extra doves on the fire to cover them. And what he feared most is his children's sin would come back to bite him, because he was trying to cover their sin, which of course it did. What he feared most came upon him. He could have just said, "Oh my God, my children are sinning. What do I do? What don't I do?" Because he's daddy. This is a working relationship between you and the Father through the Son to ask him to become part of you, and he will have a spirit, the Spirit of the Most High God, come within. So tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. So, wow. So think about that. Not me, think about it for you. Because Sometimes I feel about this big because God is so massive. And He's so beautiful and so loving that He would even allow me to paint 1 more hour or 2 more hours. Like today, they call for a whole bunch of tornadoes here in Greenville. But do I have to agree with what the prophet of Baal said on the Weather Channel? Maybe. You know, I don't want to be codependent like Job and have my butt kicked and have boils all over my body and have to scrape them with pot shards, broken pottery. And he scraped his arms with nasty, pussy boils. Grossest thing on the planet, you'd think. And he couldn't itch it with his hands, and so he did broken pottery. Then one day he goes, "Oh, God, yeah, you are God. You are the Father, and I am just a son, just an S-O-N." Then he realized, and then God restored him at that time. So why do everything the hard way? I don't know. You know, I've given a lot of words out for the last 20 years over. I still don't understand the disobedience. I mean, you know, God could not only just wipe you out, He can erase you from His brain, from His mind, and you will not exist at all. It says, fear the one who cannot only wipe you out, but the one who can take your soul. Now, the enemy can stop your destiny from this world, this first heaven. But he cannot erase your soul. But he's allowed, to some degree, to wipe you out, to take you out. He's the cruel taskmaster. He's the cruel, harsh judgment. And he's still allowed, to some degree, to test you. Now, the fallen ones, were allowed, after they fell, they were allowed to live in humanity, live as a human. That's their last call. They were allowed to live as human before they died. And they know there's no such thing as death, but they no longer exist here. But they still exist in that realm, that other realm. And are still whispering. People are still listening to them, which they should not. Because until the great white throne judgment, there is really no death. Because that's the second death. The first death is you've been tried and tested here. Some people go straight to heaven. Hopefully, many. Some people are wandering around like ghosts, which we call ghosting. Not ghosted, but ghosting. You're stuck. So, my friends, I'm trying to be brutally honest here. Tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. So, and a lot of people have tested to find out, and they've stopped hurricanes, stopped stuff manifesting in the Gulf of Mexico. Because the Gulf of Mexico is like a birthing center for the revival of the world. If you look at the Gulf and the Gulf Coast, the water comes out of the Gulf, they call it Gulf Stream, goes all the way around the bottom of Florida and goes all the way up to northern Europe. And it caused the weather in northern Europe to be mild. Look up the Gulf Stream. Now, they blew up the oil platform and released all that oil into the Gulf back in the day. Devils tried to snuff out the Gulf Coast, snuff out the birthing center that God calls a birth the rebirth of the world, will be in the Gulf Coast. Now we're talking everything from Florida, west coast of Florida, all around through Texas. That God has already begun to pour out His Spirit in those areas. God is calling people from all over the world to come into Florida. And all over the world to come into Texas. It all starts like a fire ring. Not like the song, The Burning Ring of Fire, but we're talking about a godly ring of fire. Starts all around the Gulf Coast first. And it starts in the people who have received the Word Himself. Even though it could be a vision of land, let's say, but not really, but we'll use that because that's what God is showing in the Spirit, but it's in you. It's in you. It's in you. Everywhere you are, it's in you. Michigan, the hand of God. The hand of God. You think it's coincidence that Michigan looks like the hand? No. You watch my old video on the spiritual mapping where I show the map. So Him and you and Him in agreement, then the earth will agree, the weather will agree, the elements will agree. If you agree with God, everything in heaven and everything on earth, everything in earth, everything that was ever created will agree with you. Now, it's not a prideful thing. It's a humbling thing. As if I was still 7 years old and ran back into the house. Thought, oh my God. What did I just do? Now, what did Jesus just do? What did Jesus just do? You know, I was in Lansing, Michigan on Turner Street. A lot of people know about the crazy Delaney's on Turner Street. So, well, I'm going to leave you. God bless you. We'll get on here with Michael hopefully next day or two, okay? God bless.